Dear Dad, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Dear Father, you know who it is. You know the voice. It's me, your one and only. Your only son, your only child, however you want to put it. But, however you want to put it, it is me. I'm not going to put this in a letter or a song or anything like that. I'm going to make this video. Maybe you'll see it one day on YouTube. Maybe not. Maybe someone going through a similar experience will see this, hear this, relate to this, heal to this. I don't know, but it's just something that I feel needs to be created, needs to be said. But getting back to what I was saying, dear Father, it's me, your one and only, an extension of you. You remember how this life got started? Now this is the world I'm in, and I'm only here because of you. You met a woman. Y'all did what grown folks do, have sex. And then one day, I popped up. Now, I didn't ask to come here. The creation of my life was not planned. But I would say you dealt with it quite well. You handled it like a man. My earliest memories of you, Father, I can remember either 4 or 5 years old. You were never the type to put me in a baby seat. You always let me ride up front with you. You seemed happy about it. And I remember I used to kind of complain that I couldn't see anything. So what you would do is you would stack up books on the driver's seat, like old telephone books, and you stack them up. And you tell me like, okay, can you see now? Can you see now? And I remember, the road was somewhat visible and I'd be straight. And you put my seatbelt on and we would ride. You remember that? Probably not, but I do. And then I remember the firehouse memories, which was probably one of my best memories. You were an established firefighter. You had one son, and I remember you taking me to the fire station, and you say, press this button on the fire truck. And I press it, and then the sirens would come on super loud, and it'd light up. And for a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, man, that was like being with a superhero. I thank you for that. Not a lot of boys get the chance to experience fatherhood from a real man. Now, I've learned a lot from you by being around you and just watching you, but I like to say I raised myself. Maybe that's why I made so many mistakes, but in the midst of raising myself, I came up with this thing that there's a difference between being a black man and just being a ghetto ass nigga. I was one of those young boys that had the privilege and was lucky enough to be raised by a man instead of a ghetto ass nigga. And I thank you for that. Now, drifting away from me being 5 years old, the memories at the firehouse, you know, my mom died, and I know me and you lost contact with each other due to no faults of our own. My grandma on my mom's side, you know, she left town with me and took me out of state. You hired lawyers to track me down. They found me. I was living in terrible conditions in Tennessee. And you asked my grandma nicely to release me. You said, hey, I'm his father. You know, his mom's dead. I'm next up. Like, well, what is going on? And she didn't want to because she was getting checks for taking care of me. So you did what a real man would do. You didn't give up just like a ghetto ass nigga. You said, no, this is my son. I'm a man. And, man, the sheriff put her in jail and said she will not be released until she releases your son to you. And I didn't understand it at the time, but growing up now, man, that was some real man work right there. I wanted to say that was some gangsta ass shit, but I'm trying to keep this clean. But wow, that was amazing. Cost a lot of time, spent a lot of money. That was dope. So let's fast forward. You know, you brought me from Tennessee. I remember my suitcase. I'm 7.5 years old. You show up with your mother, which is my grandma on my dad's side. And I remember I tried to get in the back seat as we were leaving, and she said, no, that's your dad. I'm going to sit in the back. You sit up front with your dad and talk. And that's what we did. And I remember the shoes I had on was so messed up that you stopped on the highway at a Nike store that we saw, and you bought me some shoes. I remember the black and white Nikes. And then we drove home, and I just remember pulling up. It was like my first time seeing a garage. I remember we pulled up in the garage, and there was like snow everywhere. My first time like seeing real snow. And, you know, we went in the house. And before I went to a bedroom or anything, it was straight to the bathtub. You put me in the bathtub. I brushed my teeth. I bathed. I washed my body. And I remember when I got out, I looked at the bathtub. It was completely brown. And I was thinking to myself, like, dang. And then you came in and saw it. And you were shocked. And I remember going to the dentist shortly after that. And the dentist said, man, he's, 7 years old. He's got a cavity on every tooth in his mouth. Like, it looks like he's never brushed his teeth. And I remember you telling the dentist, well, his mom died when he was little. And, her parents basically ran off with him. So, I couldn't find him for several years. So I think he was living in some real bad conditions. So that's how his teeth got like this. And I remember you asking me, like, I remember you asking me, like, when's the last time you brushed your teeth, or do you brush your teeth regularly? And I remember telling you, I don't believe I've ever brushed my teeth. So, those were definitely no conditions for a kid growing up. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting me out of that and showing me the other side of life. And I remember being around you from 7 up until 15 when our relationship changed. I remember all the music that you exposed me to. And not just like ghetto ass nigga music, like rap music and, shit like that. But I'm talking real music, like timeless music, real music. From Sting to Fleetwood Mac to Jean-Luc Ponty, A Tribe Called Quest. Music that was way before my generation, way before my time. Music that I still listen to now. Movies. One thing about me, I love entertainment. I love music, movies, and books. Just for you giving me a house in a nice neighborhood where I could have my own room, where I could go in my room as a kid, read my books, play my video games, watch my movies, and listen to my music. I thank you for that. But then I have to say, well, where did we go wrong? How did something so perfect, something so sweet end up so sour? And even though I've lived with you since I was 7 years old, I still feel like you are a complete stranger at the same time. I still feel like I do not know this person. How did we get here? Maybe you feel the same way about me. If I asked you what my favorite color is, would you know? If I asked you what's my favorite movie, would you know? Who's my favorite rapper? Do you know? Maybe, maybe not. But I asked myself, well, did he ever take the time to get to know? Do we care? I don't know. All I know is you took great care of me as a kid, but I would always hear growing up, once you turn 18, I'm done. My job is done. And it would go in one ear and out the other until I actually turned 18 and realized that he actually meant that. But before we get to 18, let's go back though. You got custody of me when I was 7.5. Taught me a lot of things, how to cut grass, do chores, clean up around the house, how to dress. The list goes on. But I always felt we never had a personal connection. It was just I'd be in my room, you be in your room, and that's that. I can remember needing help with my homework, and you get so frustrated that you yell at me, and I'd be so sensitive that I'd start crying. And you say, oh, why are you crying? And it would make you yell even more, and it would make me shed even more tears. And then it got to the point where I just said, you know what? I just won't do the homework, because if I ask him for help with the homework, he's just going to yell at me and make me feel bad. So to avoid that, I'll just not do the homework. I remember being the only child and going through the phases in school, dealing with bullies, dealing with self-esteem, my coming of age, just a lot of questions about myself, and about how the world works. Didn't have no big brothers or nothing like that to talk to about these things. I just had my dad, but I felt like you were someone that I could never just open up and talk to. One, you just didn't seem interested. And two, you know, I probably just would get just ridiculed and judged for it. So as a kid, you know, like you would blow up, like get explosive if I did something wrong. Like I remember when you'd have me go get the clothes out of the dryer in the basement. And I'd go get the clothes and you'd be folding up your clothes and you call my name. I'd run to your room and you'd say, "Oh, there's a sock missing. You must didn't get all the clothes." So I'd run back downstairs, check the dryer. Sure enough, there'd be the other sock. I'd bring it up to you and you would cuss me out. And I remember I would just think like, dude, it's just a sock. This is what I'd be thinking in my heart and in my mind at 8 years old. Like, it's just a sock. You gonna cuss me out over a sock? But I learned early that you get set off for things that I feel like aren't that serious. I'm like, okay, he just verbally abused me over leaving a sock in the dryer. Okay, I don't think that was necessary, but it would always be situations like this. So as a kid, you know, knowing that I'm dealing with this type of man in the house, it was fear. I couldn't really be angry at you because I was too small. So it turned to fear. And I remember my friends, they'd be like asking like, "Man, do your dad like be beating you in the house? Cause he's mean." Like all my friends would be like, "Oh, that's the dude with the mean dad." Like, you know, I think he's living a good life. Like he got a basketball court and, you know, his dad got a nice car, a nice clean house. And, you know, but I don't know. I think his dad like might be crazy, you know. You would even snap on them like they come over and you run out of the house like, "Stay off my grass." And, you know, people would be looking like, what the hell? So, you know, just like all my cousins, "Man, your daddy mean." You know, that's all I heard growing up. So, you know, when I told your sister, which is my auntie, that she was full of crap that day at the funeral, well, look how many years I've held it in with them talking crazy. So, you know, you got mad at me for that, but I was only doing that to have your back. Because when you not around and your back is turned, they always saying your daddy crazy, your daddy mean. So I thought I was taking up for you. I thought you'd be proud. You ended up just dissing me. So as a kid, you know, I was kind of fearful of you. Well, now my teenage years are coming in. You know, I'm getting in fights at school. I'm getting into robberies outside of school in the neighborhood, and you know, I'm coming of age. So now I really need that male figure to talk to, my dad. And it just seemed like as I got older each year, we just drifted further away. So then remember when, you know, I had like put the gel in my hair when I was trying to do something different, and I had the top curly. And when you met that white lady and we were going to kick it down on the east side, and you said, "Get dressed." And I was in the bathroom tending to my hair, and you was like, "Come on, we gonna be late." And when I came out the bathroom, you looked at me and you cussed me out. And you was like, "You look like a little bitch." So then when we get to the white lady's house, soon as we step out the car, her daughter and her see me and they say, "I love your hair, it's so cool." They both said this. She said it and her daughter said it. And I looked at you and you looked at me and you put your head down. You say I look like a bitch. They said I look cool. Okay, but whatever. So that's 15. So then 15 was the age when summer came, when I left the house. You was constantly, yelling at me for stuff, constantly just on me. So I just left because I needed a break. And I went and stayed in an abandoned house for a whole 8 days until my friend Marcus said, hey, have you called your dad? I said, nah, he know my phone number. He ain't called me. He said, well, I'm sure he probably worried about you. You should at least, call him and let him know that you okay if you're not going back home. And I remember I called, and when I came back home, you gave away all my video games, my video game system, and some more stuff. And I'm just like, okay. So as I got older, the me being fearful of you just kind of turned to anger. Like, nothing I do is ever good enough, so it went to anger. And then at 18, sure enough, I'm in beauty school during barber and cosmetology. And you told me you was at your auntie house. Will she let you live there? Because you can't be here no more. So I'm thinking, all my life you've been saying, once you turn 18, I'm done. But see, the thing is, in this world, I think 18 is when I needed you the most. I'm just a young kid about to embark on my mission in this world to create or start my dynasty. So you telling me you done now that I'm about to embark on my mission? My mom died when I was 3. I got no brothers or sisters. Now you giving up on me too? That's a tough one to swallow at 18. But I don't know. It doesn't erase what you did in my earlier years. What if you had given up on me then? I may not even have lived to see 18. So I thank you for being there. I'm thankful for the times that we spent together. And I'm thankful for everything that I learned from you. I don't take it for granted, but I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed how a whole year can go past and I don't hear from you. You don't call the phone. Well, now I don't even have a phone for you to call, but you know what I'm saying. I might get a text message from you on my birthday. I might get a phone call on my birthday, but that's about it. Dude, look at the world we in. Look at the times we living in right now. The city we live in, we have murders every night. You wake up, you old fashioned, you watch the news. You see what go on. It's people getting killed every morning you wake up. And I say, if one of these people end up being me, he'll never know. He'll find out in the worst way. And the sad part about this? If something happened to me out here on these streets, you'll probably have a funeral for me and you'll be in attendance. So you'll be there to bury me when I'm dead. But right now you see I'm alive and you won't be there. I'm out here struggling. I'm locked out of my storage. So I gotta sleep wherever, on the streets, in abandoned buildings. I gotta go to places to try to heat up food and eat food. When you could help me with all this. You brought me here. I didn't ask to be here. You can't fault me because you brought me into a world that I didn't ask to come. You brought me here from selfishly having unprotected sex, brought me here, and then get mad because I don't act the way you want me to act in a place that I didn't ask to come. So is it really my fault? Plus, what did I really do wrong? Did I ever put my hands on you? No. Did I ever run off with your Lexus in the middle of the night? No. Did I ever try to get with any of your women? No. And I'm only going through this list because I'm thinking of all the things that sons have done to their fathers. So I haven't done none of this stuff. Only thing I've done wrong is I didn't get successful fast enough in your eyes, and we had a couple arguments going back and forth. That's normal stuff. But what can you say that I've really done wrong to you? Did I have somebody shoot up your house or vandalize your house? No. Did I have somebody bring harm to you? No. Did I ever steal money from you? Never. Only thing I did, okay, we got in a couple disagreements, arguments, and still I didn't disrespect you or call you out your name. I didn't call you a bitch like you do me. Every time you get mad at me, I'm just a bitch now. But how can I be a bitch when I'm dealing with all of this? I don't know no bitches that can survive in these conditions. I don't know no bitches that can take they lumps and roll with them and not try to like I could have got with a woman, tried to manipulate her, or, just tried to manipulate anybody to get out of this situation. But I said, no, this is my situation. I might ask for help here and there, but initially I'm dealing with it myself. So how can I be a bitch? It takes a hell of a man with a hell of a lot of strength to go through what I'm going through day by day. So I think your assessment of me is wrong, Father. But I saw something on Facebook that kind of threw me off. It said, if you could call somebody from heaven, who would it be? And a person wrote on there, it would be my dad. I would love to have one last drink with you and talk. That's what it said. Well, I thought about that. And I said, what's the difference between me and this guy? His dad is dead. And they don't talk. My dad is alive. And we don't talk. It's not because of me. If I were to call you, you'd answer, hey, what you want? Oh, I'm busy, I gotta go. That's it. But me, my number will never get dialed. So I said, well, what's the difference between his dad that's dead and my dad that's alive? It really ain't no difference. He wants to have one last conversation with his dad and a drink, but his dad is dead. My dad is alive, and I can't get a phone call or nothing like that. So, I don't even want to say these words, but I'm a realist more than anything. And like Jay-Z said, hey, I can't lie to me. It's like my father is dead to me. And once I realized that, what do I have left? Nothing. My mom is dead. I can't go see her. I can't talk to her. I can't, nothing. My dad's alive, but it doesn't feel like it. And this is what really let me know that it's really over between us. Your mom, which is my grandmother, she died. And you didn't even call, I'm going to say call, because at that time I did have a phone I could be contacted on, and you knew the number. You didn't even call me and tell me nothing about the funeral. I didn't even get invited. All you did was just cuss me out for no reason. So, you know, I like Jay-Z said, I took a step back and viewed myself to see where my head was at. And where it is that it's just me, man. It's just me against the world. So I'm not gonna bash you. This will be the last time I talk about you. No, it won't. Because there's one more thing I gotta do. And I'll save that for another video. But, dear Father, thank you for the good times. And I apologize for the bad times. But I can't let you beat me down. I can't let you call me a failure and say I'm useless, because whether you like it or not, I still got a lot of living to do. So I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go out there and live. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to build a team. I'm going to establish relationships. And I will get that success that you seem to kick me to the curb for. But when I do, I'm not so sure that I'll want to share it with you. Because what it feels like when a man is broke and he wants to get with a woman, and that woman is like, well, you ain't really got your stuff together, so I can't rock with you. So the man, he goes off and he continues to build his life up, and slowly but surely he acquires things. And then you look up and now he is that man with everything he should have. And now that he has those things, that same woman is like, oh, you're good enough for me now. You have all the things that I want you to have. Now we can be together and spend time with each other. But the man is like, nah, you didn't want me when I was broke and down. So nah, you only want me because I'm up now, but now I don't want you. I feel like it's the same way. Dang, you didn't want me around when I was down, trying to build it up. So when I do get successful, I won't come looking for you. And I know you won't come looking for me. But and this ain't to be salty. Maybe I do sound salty. It's not intended to be that way. It's just the way it is. But despite all of that, I have to say, dear Father, thank you for my childhood. It meant the world to me. And I love you, but this is goodbye. I got a life to live.